Hello, this is Dr. Alan Yim. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 9th, 11th, and 13th chords. So, up to this point, we've been concerned mostly with triads and 7th chords. So, in the case of the 7th chord, most of the time, it's the dominant 7th. And we could simply add on to this by putting, additional members, thirds above that, and we could call it, for example, I could do this, I could call this a 9, I could add this would be the 11th, and I could add this, okay, 13th. Well, to make it easy, for now, let's just not use these ones up here, okay? If you look at the 9th chord, well, we have 5 notes. We normally write in 4 parts. So to make this easy, we will eliminate the one that we know we can usually eliminate, the 5th. Okay, so when we write the 9th chords, it's going to have a root. Let me put this in green. It'll have a root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and the 9th. Okay, and we could use this either just as is, in other words, a 9th above the root of the chord, or sometimes you might see a flat 9 as well. Now, there is no standardized way of writing the figured bass for this. So what I would recommend is just use the regular figured bass that we use for 7th chords. So in other words, 7, 6, 5, and 4, 3. And then perhaps 4, 2. I'm not sure about that one. But we're going to write 5, 9, and then in parentheses, well, for this you don't need that. But maybe 5, 9, if instead of the root on the bottom, if you have the 3rd on the bottom, you could write 5, 9, and then just put like a little 6, 5 like this. Or maybe you could try 6, 5 down there. Okay, so, and so on for the other ones. But most of the time, this chord will appear in root position with the 9th of the chord on the top. Okay, so in order to hear this chord, this is how it would normally be voiced with the bass. Okay, so in the key of C, with the G in the bass, and the 9th, which is the 9th in the key of G, of course, either A or A flat. So let me just go ahead and voice this. So this would be a 9. So this is G9 or G flat 9. Okay. So let me write this so you can see what I'm playing. Now, oftentimes you'll see the 9th in music, but it doesn't really last. In other words, it might be a non-chord tone. So here's a little bit of a Beethoven sample here in the key of A flat. So 5, there's the flat 9. So even though it's accented with that clashing 9th, it immediately resolves. So you might just analyze it as a non-chord tone in situations like that. Okay, here's the G chord that I've just played for you. So I played G, B, F, and A, and I also played G, whoops, that's a G down there, B, F, and A flat. So 5. Let's put the stems in. So again, I always recommend putting the stems so that you get in the habit of always writing in 4 parts. If you kind of leave the stems out sometimes, you might accidentally do that somewhere else, and it could be confusing. Okay, so those are those 2 dominant chords with a flat 9. Okay, it's pretty easy to resolve this. All you do is step down to the tonic. So that was the normal resolution. It looks like this. G, B, F, A, 5, 9. You'll see that when you resolve it by a half step, of course it has a stronger sense of resolution because you have that half step. Oops. Alright. So perhaps this. Okay, and then we're going to 1. Make it easy for you and easy for me. G9 to C. And it sounds something like this. Of course, you could see that the 7th is also resolving as it should, a step down, the leading tone resolving up. So leading tone up, 7th down, 9th down. You could also, of course, flat the 9th like this. So flat 9 sounds like this. One thing that's interesting about the flat 9 is if you do write in 5 parts and you're able to do it, or even without it, the upper part, so we know this part, of course, as a fully diminished 7. So you see here we have B, D, F, A flat when you have that. So that makes this chord a little bit versatile, and you could probably do a lot of playing around with this fully diminished 7th chord in the upper part. If it's raised up, of course, you have a half diminished, and then if you add the root, if you add the dominant note, the 5th degree of the scale, of course, it makes it into a 9th chord. Now, 9th, 11th, and 13th, just to make it easy. Sometimes it's hard if you're trying to think about, well, what's the 9th in this scale or this key? Sometimes you could think of this is a step up from the root, right? So this is actually the same as a 2nd above the root. This is the same as a 4th above the root, and this is the same as a 6th above the root. So you could kind of take an octave away from this, and if that helps you, to find those pitches, it's just kind of a shortcut. So you just go a step up from the root of the chord. Another chord that that was mentioned is this one, 4. So you can make this out of other chords. It doesn't have to be a dominant. So for example, if you can have a 4, 9, let's say we're in the key of, I don't know, in minor, let's say E minor, okay? So like this, okay, so E minor, this would be an A, and this is going to actually be probably a flat 9 or a 9. Okay, so A, let's take a look at this. Trying to think of what kind of what I should use for the chord symbol. So A, C, and then of course maybe the 7th. Let's leave out the E, G, and B. Okay, so what does this sound like? We can go 4, 5, blah blah blah. Okay, so A, B, maybe B7, I don't know, and then 1, E minor. I'm not going to write these all out now, but maybe something like this. Okay, in the key of E minor. How about something like this? Alright, so, and then, I'm trying to figure out how to resolve this down to 5, we just B. Okay, so here I just wrote it stepping down. So B, B, let me erase this. Since I want to resolve the 9th down in this case, so let me use a different color. The 9th, I want to resolve it down like this. I also want to resolve the 7th as well. Okay, something like this, and then let me put this up to B, and then I need a D. Okay, hopefully I didn't write any bad parallels. This has to be a D sharp, of course. So B, D sharp, F sharp, A for the 5, 7, and then to resolve this down, again the 7th down, leading tone up. This is going to go like this, and I want to invert it. It'll be something like this. Okay, let's see if this sounds okay. Whoa. I can see right now that it's not going to, because the first thing I have there is an augmented second. Well, I'm going to leave it for a second, then I'm going to think about it. So how do I solve that problem? Well, what if I left out the 3rd of the chord? So, it sounds a little weird, but instead of having the 3rd, could take your pick. Here we have an augmented second. If you want to make the tenor suffer a little bit, you could do it that way. But the key that we're talking about right now is the ninth. So perhaps we could try flatting the ninth here. Whoa, that's a little bit too funky. Because the upper part of it turns into a dominant sound. that doesn't really work. Okay, so in this case, this looks like it cannot be lowered. So when you work with the ninth, you could play around a little bit with it. Try it flat, try it natural. You could try using it as a non-chord tone, resolving it immediately, or you could resolve it, as I've showed here, a step down. Another way of resolving it is you could also leap down. So let's suppose I'll just write the upper part of this over here. So if you start out with something like this, it could leap down and to the seventh of the next chord, to the seventh of the dominant. You could resolve like this. So here's that chord there. So you can resolve it down to the seventh of the chord and arpeggiate the voices down. Not exactly a resolution because I'm not changing a chord there, but it's a way of moving off of the ninth of the chord to the seventh. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Play around with the ninth and the flat nine. Again, remember that it's not the ninth degree of the scale, but it's the ninth above the root of whatever chord you decided to add it to. And, well, thanks for watching this video.